Yes, good day, guys. Innovation is a very important thing in a country. A country that is driven by technology is a country that will advance in development in all aspects of national life. Like I said in my previous video, God anointed Moses a prophet. The same God anointed Bezalel a technologist to take care of the physical needs of the people, to build tents for them in the wilderness so that they can have shelter, to build, to make clothes for them, develop systems that can produce fabric for the women to cover their nakedness, because you cannot put people inside the wilderness. The women are naked and the men are naked. That is a problem. So God anointed Bezalel with technology to develop systems that can make provisions for their physical needs. Now, the same thing is applicable to a nation. There are some special people God has given talents. God has given the gifts of technology to develop certain things in the country to help in all aspects. Transport system, clothing, agriculture, every aspect of life. Now, today we're looking at this innovation. Now, Nigeria is a country filled with abundance of brains. These brains, most times because of leadership loopholes, especially in the academia, a lot of them have fled the country. And having fled the country, they are doing excellently well in different aspects. We have seen Nigerians abroad who scored distinction in all their exams. We've seen those who come out with 5 GPA, 5 pointers. The other day, there was a student in Russia, a medical student in Russia that got 5 GPA. We have seen those with 4.9, 4.5, 4.6, 4.7, 4.8 coming out with distinction in their various fields. Now, these brains are gifts that God has given to the country for us to harness them, develop a system whereby they can be able to become the brain box, the think tank of the country, to support, to give technological innovation and intelligence to our industrial system, support the economy in various ways. These are the brains. Now, I was going through the media when I came across this beautiful innovation from Federal Polytechnic Laro. Federal Polytechnic Laro was able to build a keke, and according to the news, the Vice Chancellor is brainstorming setting up an assembly plant for the school, and that is a beautiful idea. Most of these big companies we see today, like let's even look at Mercedes-Benz. In 1886, Carl Benz invents the first gasoline-powered vehicle in 1886. Now, this Mercedes-Benz we are talking about today, it was not just only Carl Benz that made Mercedes to become what it is, but Carl Benz is the brain behind the Mercedes-Benz. Other people came in and invested into it. Then in 1894, the first internal combustion engine, high-speed internal combustion engine, was built. Then, okay, let's leave Mercedes-Benz, let's look at Ford. Henry Ford founded the first motor company on June 16th. And the first people that invested into it, there were 12 investors that helped Ford to invest into what we now call the Ford automobile. There were just 12 of them, and what they could raise was $28,000. Only $28,000. That was how Henry Ford started this automobile industry that has become so big today. Then in 1913, they produced the first moving assembly line was introduced. From there, In 1920, they expanded globally, establishing operations in Europe, Asia, and South America. That was how Henry Ford started. So everything that starts big, it begins from little. So what are we doing as an academia, as educational institutions, as universities? What are we doing to harness these brains, put these brains together and let them have this innovation? Sending children abroad to study is good, but it's not the solution to the problem of the country. We have seen our politicians sending their children there. Their children go there, they don't become better, because there is this mentality that my father has amassed so much wealth, so I don't need to work hard anymore. But these brains that are from the low class families, we can harness these brains, give them motivation to develop innovations, inventions that can be harnessed and developed to lift the country up industrially. Look at Toyota. In 1934, first Toyota passenger car was made in 1934. This same Toyota that is all over, that is the biggest automobile company you have in the world today, it started very little in 1934. It even came much after Benz and Ford. So it is not at once that we can become so big, but we can invest little. And then on the other hand, if you look at some companies in Europe, study history of some companies in Europe and America, how they became what they are. It started with a brain. One person begins it. Then from that person, investors will come and tap into it. Then from there, they will gain some national backup support. Like Bill Gates, before Bill Gates became Bill Gates, before he developed his computer empire, Microsoft, to become what it is today, America government gave him $1 million grant. Now, we have so many brains in the country that are doing excellently well. These guys that are going out to give us 5 GPA, give us 4.9, 4.8, all the 4-pointers. What are we doing with them? These are people we can harness all together, give them grants to start innovation. It is from innovation you draw investment. Investors will come and support them. That is how all the biggest companies in the world today started. So it begins with brain work. Then from brain work, investment will come in to harness the invention, to make the invention big. Now, in Nigeria, enterprising spirit is almost zero. Our major investment is going into politics. And politics cannot put food on the person's table. The only thing politics do is share the money to a few individuals while the country suffer in penury. Politics does not add 1 naira to our GDP. Politics does not produce food for us from the farms. Politics does not do anything for us. The only thing politics does is come to you, collect taxes, and share the money to a few people. So politics is what destroys Nigeria. Now imagine APC spending $10 billion in an election. If you put together $10 billion, even $1 billion given to all these polytechnics and universities to harness this talent we have, these brains we have, before you know it, we'll be thinking of having factories all over. Look at power. We don't have power. Electric power is still at 0 level. So invention is something we really need to focus on if we must grow industrially. Like we see the other young boy in a photo that designed a G-Wagon model. These are brains God has given the country. So, and as a state, as a federal government, even as a local government, we need to look for these guys. We need to support them, give them the backing they need. Because these inventions, these things are gifts from God. It was the same way Bezalel was anointed as a technologist in the wilderness. It's the same thing, the same gift God has given to these guys. And if we don't harness these guys, then it means we are not ready for national development.